Over the course of your time in St. Louis, I would say that you have probably run into a handful of our alums that are serving as catalysts for change. So this year, Focus is actually celebrating 3 anniversaries. First and foremost, we are celebrating a delayed 25th anniversary for Focus. We have 10,000 alums to date. 75% of those alums still reside in town, and there isn't anywhere that I don't find myself there, that there isn't a Focus alum in the room. As a matter of fact, I just came in meeting at Starbucks and ran into a handful of Focus alums, which was great. So we chatted about on Focus, how we continue to do our training during COVID times, and just the overall lessons that we're learning from the pandemic. We're also celebrating the 25th anniversary of What's Right with the Region, which is our signature event that we hold during the spring. We've already set the date for next year. It is second week in May. So join us, or if you have different leaders or nonprofits that are doing great things in our community, that you just feel that they are heroes and everybody should know about them, I invite you that when we do announce that you nominate these individuals or these institutions. We're also celebrating the 40th anniversary of our Women in Leadership program. You're kind of thinking, wait a minute, they're celebrating 225ths. How can they be celebrating 40th anniversary? Well, the 40th anniversary of the Women in Leadership that we are celebrating is actually a program that through a strategic acquisition, it became part of Focus many years ago. So we have many women that have gone through that program, early to mid-career women. As a matter that program is running right now, and I'm going to be joining their program day on October 28th. And we have a rock star group of individuals that are mostly Focus alums, including our mayor, who will be joining the current class. But that all to say, Focus is everywhere, not just locally, we're everywhere nationally and also globally. And we are excited that you could join us today to learn more about one of our most oversubscribed programs. That's our Emerging Leaders Program. And it always brings me pure joy, pure inspiration to meet with individuals that are considering applying for this program, just to learn about how they see their role in community from and also personal basis. And I can't wait for you class. So I invite you to stay connected to Focus in any which way possible. Stay connected to Matthew Kerns, who's the director of the program, or look me up. And I'm always announcing exciting things that are going on, not just at Focus, but also nationally and globally. So we are glad to have you join us here today. And now I will pass things back to my colleague, Matthew.
Thank you so much. Yeah, and please, as you have questions for today, don't hesitate to ask. Don't hesitate to reach out to any of us. We're happy to talk to you about any questions you might have that might not get answered today. So let me share my screen really quick here, and we will get underway. Put this into slideshow, and there we go. Okay, so we are here to talk, like I said, about the spring 2022 cohort. That's easy. Today's agenda is to give you a brief presentation, but I promise I'm not going to talk too much at you because it's really not my shtick. And then we're going to have an alumni panel discussion, which I think is really important. I think the best way for you to understand what the program is and how it works is for you to see people who have been through it. And be able to talk to them. So there'll be some questions and answers with those folks as well. And then we're going to have a micro experience, time permitting. I wanted to show you on the side of this slide some of the amazing people who come in and visit with our emerging leaders. So at the top is Antoinette Carroll. She's the founder and CEO and president of Creative Reaction Lab. And Antoinette comes in and talks about diversity, equity, accessibility, and inclusion. Tasha Anderson is the founder and CEO of the Charity CFO. The Charity CFO is a not-for-profit accounting firm that she started. She had a vision for it. She started it. She made it happen among everything. It happened, and it's growing and flourishing. And she's a fantastic visionary. And we're always happy to have her come in and share with our entrepreneurs. And Catherine Stinson recently came in. Catherine is a career burnout researcher, and she's been doing a lot of work around not just the pandemic, but beyond the pandemic and before the pandemic, what it looks like to be burned out in your career, to be considering shifting, how to see burnout in others, and how to address it. So it's a really fascinating conversation. She was there for an hour and a half, and she could have been there for 6 hours because there was so much interesting dialogue around it. But these are some of the great people that come in and share their experience and their wisdom with our cohorts during the Emerging Leaders Program. So Yami gave you a brief overview, but Focus is 25 years old. We have our flagship program, LSL, and our Emerging Leaders Program started in 2012. And this program is specifically for people who identify as early to mid-career professionals. So entrepreneurs, not-for-profit directors, government employees, people who consider themselves community leaders are also welcome to apply for the program. The goal here is that we are bringing the people who are going to be seated at the table to lead this place in the next amazing chapter of its existence. So it's a 3-month program. That's the time commitment. It starts with a mix and mingle where we learn a few things, but we really get to know each other. And then we have an opening retreat. We have seminar days that are about specific topics. And then we finish with a capstone presentation. And I'll talk more about those in just a few minutes. Our program outcomes are pretty simple. We want to increase the sense of engagement in the region. We want you to have a strong understanding of your core attitudes, values, and beliefs. And we want to give you a toolbox to take an active role as the next generation of leadership professionals. So these are a few reasons why you might consider joining. If you're thinking about applying, do you self-identify as a leader in our region, whatever that means to you? Do you desire to have a deeper understanding of the region? Are you someone who wants to refine personal, professional, and civic leadership skills, as well as personal core values training? Do you aspire to work collaboratively with peers in addressing civic and social issues? Do you intend and want to utilize diverse perspectives, experiences, and knowledge in making our region a better place to live, work, and play? And do you wish to build a strong and trusted network of leaders? That's a really important one because that's one of Focus's core missions. We educate leaders, we connect leaders, and we facilitate important conversations as a neutral convener across the region about topics that are important. The only thing that we take a stand on is we have a stand on racial equity, and we stand for racial equity in everything that we strive in doing. Finally, are you a person, if you're thinking about applying, who is not afraid of coming to the table and talking about the many conversations that are about our shared experience of living in St. Louis? We all come from different walks of life, different backgrounds, different places, but we share one thing. We're all here, we're all leaders, and we all believe in this place, and we want to see it move forward. So if those are things that you have been wrestling with, here are the kinds of people who consider applying to this program. All right. So the benefits of our program are you get a deeper understanding of the region, which is really important. There is truly an unparalleled exposure to influential civic, business, and community leaders. Like Amy said, you won't make it through a day where you don't run into a Focus trained leader once you're out and about in the region, and you are one. You get tools and experiences that lead to that lead you through and to difficult conversations about diversity, equity, accessibility, and inclusion. We improve collaboration, communication, decision-making, facilitation, and strategic thinking skills. We also, like I said previously, we create deep and lasting relationships with diverse networks of peers. One of my favorite Focus stories is there's a cohort that came together in the late 80s, 1980s, that is, and they still get together every 6 to 8 weeks for lunch. That's power, and that's connection. And we also bring a greater sense of personal commitment and responsibility to yourself and to the region. But enough from me. At this time, I'm going to truly welcome friends who are here. As I said, some of these folks today are current program participants. They're in the current program, and I want you to hear about their current experience. And some of them are past alumni. And the best way for you to learn about these friends or about this program is to learn from people who have been through it. So Ruskin, Adriana, Lindsay, Evan, and Clark, please come to the screen if you are not there already. And I'm going to stop sharing my screen for a minute. Hi, friends. How are you today?
Wonderful as always.
Yay. So I'm going to ask some questions, and I want to make sure that we get a chance for everybody to answer them. So we might not get to all of them, but I'm going to ask the pressing ones. So Lindsay, I'm going to start with you, and I'm going to ask you what made you agree to sign on the dotted line to commit to this program?
Thank you, Matthew. So I was nominated by my management team at City and did research on Focus St. Louis, did research on the program, kind of asked around. My aha moment to kind of sign on the dotted line was to be a part of something bigger than myself. It was to have that opportunity to meet with other folks that were similar minded to me to try and move forward with the change that we need within the region and beyond the region of St. Louis. And so it was really important to me. It's always been a passion of mine to kind of give back to my community, teach my children to give back to the community. And this was a perfect opportunity to do just that. And I'm forever grateful that I did.
And Lindsay, tell everyone what you do at City.
So I am a VP of our governance team for our global project management organization. So we have a global reach within our global consumer bank. And I'm actually in the process of promoting to senior program manager for our current transformation efforts. So we are kind of undergoing a rebranding. I call it City 2.0. And I'm really excited to have an opportunity to partake in the transformation efforts and see where we can take City how we can take City to the next level, and then be able to look back 10 years from now and say, I kind of had my hand in that transformation. So I'm positioning to a new opportunity, but I've been at City for about 10 years now and love every minute of it.
Awesome. Thank you. Hi, Evan. Evan, the same question. What made you agree to sign on the dotted line and commit to this program, and tell everybody about VetBiz and what you do there?
Yeah, so I'm the digital marketing manager at VetBiz. What we do is we help veterans and military families start and expand their businesses. What made me sign on the dotted line is VetBiz, we work really closely with Focus to get our entrepreneurial veterans who are looking to expand and grow to get into these programs. So when I had the opportunity to take the program, I immediately snatched it up. Not only was I excited about the opportunity to grow as a young professional and as a young leader, but like Lindsay said, being able to work in the community is, one of the things that definitely drove me to it. Not only am I able to help grow myself as a leader, but also being able to help St. Louis grow and help the progress and momentum that we see happening in the city continue to happen. It was something that I absolutely could not turn down. So it was really multifaceted for me. I could sharpen my leadership skills and I get to work to actively improve my community.
Awesome. Thank you. Hi, Clark. Clark, same question. What made you sign on the dotted line, and tell everybody what you're doing over at LaunchCode?
Yeah, so at LaunchCode, I'm a candidate engagement manager, which is kind of a mix of HR professional and program manager. So I manage our curriculum, our free tech curriculum, as well as help bring folks that may have non-traditional tech backgrounds, maybe self-taught, and get them places in an apprenticeship with a tech company. So it's really fulfilling work. And I actually had my decision to join Emerging Leaders was also pretty multifaceted. Over the pandemic, I did a lot of work within the community in fragmented pieces of mutual aid and working together with nonprofits like Metro Trans Umbrella Group and Pride St. Louis, but nothing ever felt cohesive. And I felt like in St. Louis, you get this issue of a lot of little people doing really good work, but in very siloed ways. And I felt like using something like Emerging Leaders helps me build the connections that make the impact of all of these siloed pieces so much more powerful. So hoping to build power within the region to advance the good of the region.
Awesome. Thank you. Hi, Ruskin. I see you now. You popped on my screen. Same question. What made you sign on the dotted line, and tell everybody what you're doing at LS Strategy?
Thank you. I'm right now a project manager for life science strategy team at Millipore Signal. And the key reason I actually signed up with Focus is again, I'm probably going to repeat what others said, is probably to give back and learn how we as leaders can give back to our society. And maybe it's smaller stuff, but these smaller steps actually help a lot on the longer run. So overall, I wanted to develop myself and learn more about the civic duties that we have, and at the same time give back in any way possible.
Thank you. And finally, Adriana, hi. Hi, good to see you.
Hi.
Same question. Tell them what
Awesome.
you're doing at Centene.
So I'll start with that. So I work at Centene Corporation. I am actually in my third week in a new role here at Centene. So I've been in human resources, but as of recently, I have joined our workplace accommodations team. So we are a world-class team. I'm so honored to be part of this team of folks that help our entire, employee base of over 60,000 employees, that if they have disabilities or if they need, leave or anything like that, then I get to be part of the team to help them find those solutions and remove barriers to help them to be able to do their work effectively. So it's very new to me still, but I'm so excited. And really, I want to give this program the kudos for that, because one of the main selling points when I was in my interview was they loved the fact that I had, really taken charge of my own development, and this, being part of this program was part of that. But we'll talk more about that later. But the reason that I signed up, so I had heard about Focus. I've been very much involved in the community and trying to give back and learn about myself and focus on DE&I and everything. So I'd heard about Focus and I had gotten nominated, and I did a little bit more research and talked to some folks that had been through the program before. And the thing that I love the most is I've been through other leadership programs, and it's a lot of, what can I take from this? What can I learn? But Focus was a lot of, what can I give back? How can I develop the skills to give back to the community and do more? How can I not just make myself a better person, but then how does that influence the community that I'm in? And that is what really spoke to me. And I said, yep, I absolutely have to be part of this program. And here we are today.
And the rest is history, as they say. So the question on the table is, what surprised you most about the program? And if you're in it currently, talk about the first few experiences that you've had. And if you've graduated from the program, talk about the overall experience and what was the biggest takeaway surprise for you. So why don't I start with Evan this time?
Okay. What surprised me the most? So I'm gonna speak for some of my peers in the cohort. So Clark, shout at me if I'm wrong, but I think we all went into this program wanting to level up as professionals and see what kind of skill set we should gain. We went in knowing that this program does turn out some of the most successful leaders in our region and beyond. And that what really surprised me was the connections that I was able to make with my peers right away on the first day. I think especially young professionals, starting your career out, you get in your own little bubble thinking that no one understands the pressure you're going through, or we put all this pressure on ourselves. And after day one of the cohort, I had 50 plus new friends and 50 plus colleagues who really understood where I was coming from. And honestly, I was a little intimidated. I thought that everyone would be way beyond me professionally when I went in. And there are some absolutely amazing professionals in my cohort. And it's amazing how immediately relatable everyone was. And we all kind of had that, we went in thinking, oh God, what are we doing? And we're all on the same level of, okay, now we're growing and learning together. That really honestly surprised me.
So Clark, I'm going to let you speak to the same thing since you're the other person here in the program right now.
Yeah. I feel like my answer is going to complement Evan's really well, because Evan's was all about the externality and how much everyone else is. And I certainly echo all that. But I think my counterbalance to that is how much internal reflection it's caused. I don't know that I anticipated how much I would have to think about my values and where they lie and how I can use my values to better the region. And I think that's been really good for me as I kind of develop my civic self moving forward. So these questions of more big moral questions about what is going on in the region and how we apply our own values and ethos to our leadership work has been just frankly mind-blowing. So I've really enjoyed that part, and that's been really surprising to me.
Wonderful. So Adriana, when you were in the program, what was the thing that surprised you?
Oh goodness. Honestly, just how, like I said, I've really tried to focus myself to be open and do the research and to, I came into the program thinking, okay, I already have a good foundation. This is going to help even more. And that was 100% true, but it more than just built upon my foundation, it widened my foundation. It challenged me. Some of the topics that we had, some of the presenters that we had really had me thinking, am I doing what I need to be doing? How can I be better? And it surprised me at how much more after every single session I came out of it. I feel like I had grown 2 inches taller every single time we came out of one of the sessions, because I was just so invigorated and so excited. And I have learned so much. And for someone like me who's a lifelong learner, I was a little surprised at just how much I learned after every single session. And it just, I've been able to stretch and grow, and it was amazing. And the other thing that really surprised me is just how nice it was to be connected with so many like-minded people that were also still very much open to conversation and open to discussion and thinking through things in a different way. So it was really nice.
Wonderful. Thank you. Ruskin, I'm going to ask you the same question.
Absolutely. So I think one of the most surprising things for me was, again, when I came in, I had a mindset that I want to give back, figure out how we can, do the CAP project at the end and absolutely learn from that. But it was very, very interesting and very eye-opening that when we talk about giving back to the society, and one of the projects that we were working on was food deserts, right? It's crazy to feel and understand that we have these food deserts, probably like 1 or 2 zip codes from where I live. And I pass that area almost every day, and we didn't realize that, right? So I would say one of the most surprising pieces, one of them was getting more closer, getting, our hand on the nerve of our city with this program, right? We met so many people, we heard so many wonderful speakers, and it helped me, at least personally, to get closer to the city. Another surprising piece, and again, I'm very thankful for that, is how diverse the cohort was. We had, civic body leaders and emerging leaders, of course. We had people who are entrepreneurs. We had people in various corporate positions with various companies in St. Louis. It was very diverse, but with the same mindset. So it was, as Lindsay, you were saying, and Adriana, I think you were also mentioning that at the end, it's the cohort that really brought it all together. So it was very good.
And I really appreciate that, because I want to add on to it that the focus staff doesn't choose the cohorts. We have a selection day, and all the applications go to alumni of this program specifically. And the alumni of this program, so your peers, are the ones who put the cohorts together and bring them to the table. And they are looking for all those different zip codes and all those different perspectives and all those different opportunities, so that we have the most diverse table out there. And every cohort we have, it's just amazing. It's amazing the people that show up for it. Rachel, I will get to your question and talk about specific topics in just a second, as soon as we hear from Lindsay and hear about what your greatest takeaway was.
So mine was just the openness and welcomeness from everyone involved, the cohort, the leadership, the folks who were invited to come in and present for the cohort. You know, you go into a room full of strangers and you never really know, virtually or in person, you never really know what to expect or how to kind of proceed. I think even the most, you know, extrovert of people go in with a little bit of intimidation on how should I be, how should I act, and what's allowable in this environment. And really the sky was the limit in our cohort. And, you know, we kind of went in, this is a topic that's always kind of at the forefront, is policing in America. And we went in right when, you know, all of the instances were happening with, you know, the Black communities and our law enforcement. And so I was a little timid. We are a law enforcement family. My husband is a detective for one of our smaller communities in Jefferson County. And I was, you know, a little timid going in because I didn't know how I was going to be accepted, being kind of on that other side of that spectrum. And so I was extremely shocked with how welcomed I was, that I had maybe differing viewpoints, being a law enforcement family. And I was welcome to talk about those. They were invited, they were appreciated. And those conversations that I heard from my cohort were necessary for me to hear from the other side as well. And so they were uncomfortably necessary conversations to be had for what's going on in today's world. And I have my personal stance on it, which, don't get me wrong, we do not agree with bad policing. We do not agree with bad law enforcement, corrupt law enforcement. But there's another side to that story of good law enforcement. And I was welcome to talk about that, as well as learn from my cohort how it's personally impacted them. And that opened my eyes to things that I may have been blind to because I haven't been exposed to that side of it. And so again, it was an uncomfortably necessary conversation. So if I can give anyone on this call advice, it is to go in with your true raw self and expect to learn from the uncomfortableness, because the uncomfortableness is what's going to get St. Louis to the next tier. That's where we need to go. We can't just continuously have these, bland conversations. Well, it's happening, but we'll talk about that next year. No, we need to talk about it now, and we need to hear from all parties. So go in, be ready to be uncomfortable and embrace the uncomfortableness, because I literally still talk about that to this day, that's what's needed and that's what happened. And I wouldn't have had that without emerging leaders.
And I just want to say, so this is a perfect segue into a couple of things. All sectors are welcome and encouraged. We've had everyone from artist to doctor to lawyer to politician to you name it, and they've been here. So if you see yourself as a leader and you believe yourself as a leader, you can self-nominate yourself. You can also have someone nominate you from your organization. So everyone is welcome and encouraged to apply. The things we do, we kind of step into the hot water. It's a place where we're going to learn about this region. And the way we move the needle is we communicate and talk about it. And that means everybody's perspective is welcome. Everybody's perspective is considered, and everybody's perspective is talked about. And it really is very healthy dialogue. Topics include things like diversity, equity, accessibility, and inclusion. We have an arts day this fall that we'll have again in the spring. We have a community engagement day. We talk about values-based and ethics-based leadership, and we present problems that are example problems and also current problems happening in the region. The people who are in this cohort can tell you on day one, within 15 minutes, I had them talking about their North Star moment with a perfect stranger that they had met one other time. And they were like, the comments afterwards were, well, I didn't think that we were going to be talking so deeply within the first 5 minutes. And we do. There's no reason to waste time. There's a lot of work to do. And there are a lot of things for us to start thinking through. And the voices at the table are the magic of focus. And everybody's voice is valuable. So you name it, we talk about it. I'm trying to think of I'm looking at the big board behind me. So we have our CAP projects, which I really want to spend a minute talking about with this cohort. These are small group projects where we partner with organizations, and they're either developing something, they have a problem in their organization they're trying to sort through, and we bring them a small group from the cohort that works with them to develop solutions to that problem. So can you quickly just talk about your CAP project, Evan, and then Clark?
Yeah, definitely. I actually just had a meeting last night with my CAP group, and it's really interesting because I know we purposely kind of work with organizations that challenge us as leaders. And Matt challenged us to kind of approach this project from a different perspective. Like personally, I'm one of the people who I like to be in charge, and I like to perfect program, right? And I like to take the lead on things. But Matt really challenged me to go into this CAP project and work with my team from a different perspective. And my team has been great and fantastic. And I am learning so much as a leader. And we're learning so much working with organizations, because we're currently working with the ACLU. We're working with organizations that I just didn't realize had such an impact on our community. And, just being able to actually help them grow and really make a difference in the St. Louis region, and also a little bit in Kansas City as well. But we won't talk about it.
Thank you. And Clark?
Yeah, so this has been a real exercise for me in really understanding what the term servant leadership means, because I don't typically, like Evan, I think a lot of people that apply to something like this, we're all go-getters, take charge type people. And so for me, it's been, I purposely took a role that was a support role in this. So it was not like a direct leadership, but also it's seeing how my actions as someone who sets agendas and takes notes and things like that can really increase the overall productivity, our overall thought process, and our ability to run productive meetings and all things like that. My project is for a small business in St. Louis called the Improv Shop, who had a bustling business before the pandemic, but due to the pandemic and being a live theater type organization, has some struggles. So we're figuring out how we can make a material difference for this small business to get it back to where it was, to leverage its many strengths, and which strengths are best to leverage given the context of living in a post-pandemic world. So that's been a real exercise, and it feels very valuable because this is stuff that will make a difference for a small business in a way that not a lot of other leadership programs allow you to do. I was just telling Matthew before this, I have my MBA. I did case study after case study getting my MBA, but I didn't have very many opportunities to really apply what I was learning to a real world situation. Yep. And that has been just an absolute game changer with what I consider, what I think about, how I take my next action, and how our group works together.
Yep. Awesome. In the interest of time, I'm going to ask all of you this question that Lindsay led into. In like 2 sentences, Adriana, can you tell me what advice you would give to somebody who's thinking about applying for this program?
Go for it, because I guarantee you it's going to change your life. I know, especially for me, it changed my life. We had a session with Food Outreach with their executive director, and now I'm part of the board of directors because I met her at this session. I asked Matthew to make an introduction, and now I'm a board member. And we just celebrated our fundraiser this past weekend, and we raised so much money for a great cause. So do it. And then, like I said, it also helped me get a new job. Because it shows that you're really giving, you're putting that time and effort into yourself. And that's impressive to people. And so just do it, because I guarantee you're going to come out a better person, whether it's just on the inside or, someone like me that now I'm in a position to really make a great impact in St. Louis.
Wonderful. Thank you. Ruskin, what about you? What advice would you give to somebody thinking about applying to this program?
I would say, of course, jump in, but go in with an open mind, because you'll be amazed with what you'll learn about yourself, let apart other stuff. So go in with an open mind, and once you're in, you'll see and you'll see how different things work, and how you yourself are different than what you thought about yourself.
Yep. Lindsay, anything you want to add to your aforementioned statement?
Couldn't find my mute button. So the only thing that I want to kind of add on to is a lot of times people think I don't have time. I don't have the time to do this. I want to note that I am a mom to 3 very active little girls. We are in the midst of completely rehabbing our home. I am dual enrolled in both my undergrad and my graduate program, and I work 50 to 60 hours a week. So I get that time is critical, and sometimes we don't feel like we have time, but your personal development has to take top priority, and how we can better our community has to take top priority. So whatever you think, if I can do this program with what I'm in, I can promise you, you can do it too, because you have to understand how to prioritize those things. And a program like Emerging Leaders needs to be at the top. So please don't hesitate if it comes to like a time perspective. If I have the time, you have the time, you need to have the time. This is a program that you need to do. So that's all else I have to add to that.
Thank you. Clark, any advice for somebody considering applying? And then Evan asked you the same question.
I mean, I have to echo everything everyone else said, but also bring your whole self, bring every piece of yourself and be vulnerable. So you can get the most out of this experience.
Yeah. Evan?
Yeah, don't doubt yourself. I promise that you're not alone. I think we, especially as young professionals, put a lot of pressure on ourselves to be this perfect leader, and you don't have to be perfect, in order to put yourself out there and do that. I would definitely say, like, my biggest takeaway so far is, like, I deserve to be in this room. We deserve to be in this room, especially if you're learning.
Yeah. And I'd like to welcome anybody who's in this space now to open up their mic and ask a question of this panel. I'm also super good at uncomfortable silence too.
I have a weird question.
Hi, Amber. No question is weird. Go ahead.
Hi. I guess I want to know how old, like the age range. Is that a weird question?
That no, it's not a weird question. It's a question that I get all the time. So the age range, the at the bottom, you have to be at least 22. At the top is fluid, because really what we've discovered is that everybody can identify as an emerging leader at different age brackets. So if you have a question about it, you can check in with me individually, but there are many people who go beyond the 35 age number that's listed in our documentation, because this is the space they're in and this is the program that's right for them. And the key to Focus is a partner for your entire leadership experience in your life. So if you're an emerging leader and you just happen to be 37, we're probably okay with it.
Hey, Matthew, I have a quick question for the panel. I was curious how everyone chose between the emerging leaders and some of the other programs that Focus offers. I know I in particular was looking at the Women in Leadership program as well. And like, what made you choose this one over the others?
I'll take it.
Okay.
Just the ability to, so like if my company, we help people go into both programs, the Emerging Leaders and the Women in Leadership, and both of them are excellent programs. And I would recommend that, if you want to do either one of them, great choices. But I wanted the opportunity to work with a lot more people in the space. I thought that I would get a little bit more out of the program if I was able to work with my peers, in all facets of leadership.
And in my belief system about Focus, I believe that Focus is a partner for your entire life. So if you decide on doing Emerging Leaders now, and in a year or 2 years, you decide it's time for Women in Leadership, then great, that's where your career takes you. And that's the next step. And then 10 years down the road or 5 years down the road, you're back again and you're ready for Leadership St. Louis, you join in there. And then after Leadership St. Louis, you're like, I really want to dig into a single project. Then you dig into the Impact Fellows. So we can be all the way from junior year in high school with you until you are, running the universe.
Yeah, I can say that's kind of my game plan is I felt like emerging leaders was going to help with that foundational part of learning those leadership skills. And then my game plan is, yeah, I'm going to go and do women in leadership at some point. And I'm, Matthew and the focus team, they're never going to be able to get rid of me because I plan to stay here and just like absorb everything that everyone has to give. But yeah, it felt right in my career that the emerging leaders was what I needed in that moment. That's the development that I needed. And it has paid off tenfold.
Yep. And I will just say on the record that my colleague Shayla Ford, who runs the Women in Leadership program, is amazing. She's an amazing facilitator, and she is an amazing human being who is dynamic and powerful and so intelligent and has such good perspective about the world of leadership. Yeah. Any other questions for this panel?
Yeah, hi, my name's Jake. I've got a quick question.
Hi, Jake.
Hi. This may have already been touched on before, so sorry if this was already answered, but when you're in the program, do you have any choice between the type of CAP project that you're doing, or is it like everyone in one cohort kind of tackles the same project?
So there are 6 projects this time around. And do you have choice in them? No. What I do is I look at who you are and what you do for a living, and then I make you do the polar opposite. And the decision around that is very intentional. I know that you're an expert in whatever field you're in and you're developing skill and working there. I'm trying to get you to see the region as a whole and a greater experience. And the way for me to do that for you is to put you in a place that might make you feel a little uncomfortable and put you in something that you might not be expecting. Lindsay, who's next door to me in the tile on Zoom here, is a perfect example. When Lindsay was
Actually going to speak to that.
Yeah, right. When Lindsay was there, I put Lindsay in my fringe group that was solving a communication development issue. And Lindsay doesn't have a background in arts, nor did she particularly have an interest in it, but I'll let her speak from here.
So, and that's exactly so I'm not involved in the arts, and it was, I don't know if anyone knows what Fringe STL is, or St. Louis Fringe. It's a fantastic arts organization that helps artists that wouldn't rather have opportunity elsewhere or wouldn't have opportunity elsewhere, have the opportunity to perform on a very what's the word I'm looking for?
Uncensored, unjuried stage.
Uncensored, yes, very, very open. And it's honestly a phenomenal organization. And so with our CAPs, we were able to kind of go in and do a survey. We rank them from 1 to whatever. And I'll be honest, it was the last one on my list. And so when I found out that that's the one I was tied to, I immediately was like, well, what am I going to do with this? How am I going to benefit? And how is the CAP project going to benefit from me being on this? But again, it was needed. I needed to be on that project to expand my thinking and to get into something that I normally wouldn't put myself into. So again, embracing that uncomfortableness because it's necessary. And so I came out honestly a better person myself. And I hope that we helped St. Louis Fringe. They were working on their 10th anniversary fundraiser, and it really was a fantastic program. So go in if you have a chance. Matthew, I don't know if you do the ranking system anymore, which, like Matthew said, it doesn't matter. Apparently he knew what he was giving us. But if you do get a chance to say, I want XYZ, pick the ones you don't want, because that's what emerging leaders is for, is to push you out of those boundaries, to make you embrace the uncomfortableness. And you can't do it if you kind of stay in that silo. Well, this is where I'm comfortable, so this is where I'm going to go. So highly encourage you to look at the CAP projects if you do have an opportunity to pre-vet them in a sense, and say, these are the ones that I would normally pick, so I'm going to pick these because these are the ones that will break me out of my comfort zone and make me think outside the box, because I would not have had that opportunity had Matthew not assigned me to that one, and I'm extremely forever grateful for that.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate your words. Friends, thank you, panelists, so much for your time. I'm going to keep us moving on. I do want to encourage you, if you have other questions, you can just reach out to me directly for the panel, and I can reach out to them and get an answer for you. But panelists, I want to say thank you as we're moving forward into this next step of this informational session. Okay, I'm going to go back to sharing my screen. it's time for me to ask you to connect with each other. So I want to spend a few minutes here, and I want you to learn about each other and the other people who are considering this program in the room. I'm going to put you into breakout rooms randomly selected, and you are going to ask each other, and everybody is required to answer this question. Why are you interested in the Emerging Leaders Program? Is number one. And question number two, what aspect of the program resonates with you most? So 2 questions that you're going to talk to each other about today. Why are you interested in emerging leaders? And what aspect of the program resonates with you most? So I'm going to put you into a breakout room. Randomly, here they go. Let me finish up with just some nuts and bolts stuff. Hopefully you got a chance to visit with some folks and learn a little bit about the people that could be in your next cohort. Here's the nuts and bolts. The tuition is $895. The preference is that it's paid by the first day of seminar day 1 at the opening retreat. There is financial aid available, so please apply for it because we have it. Focus does not give 100% scholarships, but they do give scholarship, and it is available to people out there. So please take advantage and use the scholarship money. And if you are in a different situation and you're many people's organizations will pay for the program. So go ahead and let us know that. It might not be there on the first day. It's fine. If you need a payment plan, that's fine too. We're totally willing to work with you because the important thing for us is that you're at the table. So, but the tuition is indeed $895. Here are the important dates. I want to make note at the bottom, there's a link, and you can go to our website and focus-stl.org, and you can nominate someone that you think might be great for this program, or you can self-nominate. Self-nomination is totally legit and welcome and encouraged. So nominations are probably going to close about December 1st. Applications close. They have to be in by midnight on December 3rd. So December 3rd is a big day. We'll have selection day with our panel on December 13th, and notifications will go out on December 20th, if not before. Then once notification is out, you have until January 5th to sign the contract and say, yes, this is going to be my spring experience. And finally, there's my contact information. You can contact me by email. You can get on my calendar. I'm happy to have individual visits with everyone. If you would like to do that, I'm happy to do that through Zoom. I text really well. So if you need my cell phone number, I'm a really terrible emailer, but I'm a really good texter. So by all means, please don't hesitate to reach out if I can answer any further questions. And I wanted to give us a few minutes here at the end just to answer any questions, any final questions any of you might have of the program or about Focus at this time.
Can you share a little bit more about what the time commitment looks like when the first session is and things like that?
I can. Yeah, so if I go backwards here, the first one is February 8th. That's the mix and mingle, and that's an evening, so it's 6 to 7:30 in the evening. Our opening retreat is always a Friday and a Saturday. So this one's February 25th and February 26th. The Friday is 1 to 5 in the afternoon, and the Saturday is 9 a.m. to 3 p.m. with a lunch break. Our Monday, March 14th seminar day is 1 to 5. Our Tuesday, March 31st seminar day is 9 to 3. Our Thursday, April 14th seminar day is 9 to 3. Our Thursday, May 5th, Capstone Project Day is 8 to 3, but really you only have to be there for the half hour of your actual presentation with your group. The rest of it, you're welcome to come, but you don't have to come. We don't expect you to be there all day. Our final seminar day is Monday, May 9th from 1 to 5. And then we would like you to come to the Focus graduation, which is in summer of 2022, also known as May 19th. That's summer for me. Yet to be determined location. It's in the works, but if it works out the way we think it's going to work out, it's going to be super fun.
I have a question. The slide deck that you had was really informative. Is that something that is all on the website?
So I'll talk to our web people and make sure that we can get you all the slide deck. And if you're looking for it and you don't see it, just send me an email and I'll email you the deck. But yeah, I'm happy to give you all the information that was presented today.
And Matthew, hi, my name's Lauren. I was just wondering with the project, it sounds like time commitment might vary depending on the team that you're with and the organization and the project. But is there sort of an estimate on how those types of interactions are determined by the group?
So there is an estimate. So here's what we decide to do. We assign the project and you meet with your CAP champion during the opening retreat time. So in program, and then you're asked to get together once a week at minimum until the mid check-in point, which is coming up here in just a couple of weeks for the current cohort. And then you're asked to finish it up and be ready to present on the final day. And there is some work time inside of the program, but generally it's about an hour outside weekly.
Great. Thank you.
Yep. And the different teams get to determine what that looks like for them. We don't predetermine any of that. Any other questions?
Hi, my name's Tracy Gutska. I just had a quick question. I think someone asked in the chat too, but is everything going to be virtual for the spring, or is it a mixture, or?
So that's an interesting question. Welcome to the roller coaster of the pandemic. The answer at this time is our intention is for it to be hybrid. We are certainly right now, what we're doing is we're doing the content online virtually through our online campus, which is fantastic. And then we're doing a meetup in person after program content is over for those who feel comfortable with it at different locations around the city so that we can get some human to human contact as well if you feel comfortable. Our intention is to try and start shifting our programs back to human interaction come the spring, but we just have to wait and see what happens with the pandemic. I mean, I wish I had a magic crystal ball that could be like, it's going to be over by then, but I just don't know the answer. So the intention is a hybrid, but I will make sure that you see each other in person if that is your intention and want out of this program. And I also meet with everyone individually throughout the program, so I can really understand what your main goals are in the program.
Perfect. Thank you.
Any other questions? Okay. Thank you all so much for joining us today. I really appreciate it. Thank you to my panelists. Thank you to Yami. And I hope to see a lot of applications rolling in and hear about you and learn about you and see why and how you want to change this region, because it is a great place to live, work, and play. And every one of you have the possibility of making it even better than it already is. Thank you so much for joining us and have a great day.